Port Moresby police investigating weekend death and retaliation. Southern Highlands Governor declaration being contested. And HIV cases on the rise in Madang.
This is National EMTV News with Marilyn Diaukatam.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. Port Moresby police are investigating the death of a young man who was killed last night at Geruhu Stage 2. The deceased, identified as Perry Lama, was returning home when he was attacked and killed. Police is still gathering information on what provoked the killing and who might be involved.
Raymond Welema says he was present when the incident started last night. He explained that it began with a minor argument between a taxi driver and a storekeeper at the back road leading to Geruhu Stage 6.
All big line from Miblai Togosam. Stop him all fight number na. Tomorrow to light na ba you may ask him how na why and all slagain so. Miblaka baselo you met gate na Mibla stop go day break na. Morning plan Mibla go na toksa lo line lo. Explain him slow way. Mibla na sala one last Sunday you bled walking away Mibla and kill Mibla na slagain.
It occurred about a kilometer from where Welema is standing. Following the argument, a fight broke out between the taxi driver and the storekeeper. The fight later erupted into something bigger when relatives of the taxi driver stabbed another young man who was returning home after watching the NRL Grand Final.
The touchscreen stop na. Instead of some lifeline finish na, I'm jump side na. I'm so now I'm thinking of lifeline finish. I'm kirabem. I've been to phone plan. I put on the forward blow driver. Now I'm glass brook na. I got that face blade scratch and blood room. Okay, now I'm Boskuru kirabem. Come out them bullet them. Nalva stock kipaya. Okay, now I'll focus punch go come na. Ben driver kirabem do nagat. Also you block with pasta and I'm going to louse na kam. So I'm going to have all monkey watch stop long and I'm going to. I'm going to talk some. All Pangaea paidi mibla. Because actually all monkey Pangaea sa base lab na stop long and so.
Another fight broke out when reports that the young man who was stabbed had died at the Geruhu General Hospital. Police responded at 7 in the morning and tried to calm the situation. However, when police left, an even bigger fight started around 12 p.m. on the hill behind the Yumiat housing estate. One faction was based at Tete Settlement, while the other at the Yumiat real estate. Both groups carried bush knives and axes and raced up the hill to engage in a warlike battle.
All brother lagan aste night all been fight long na. All can come na. All you make him all some lagan nasty tok na unnecessary tok so. This like kirabim fight namel gello. Tupla party gena ben fight go big club but ben or police come lo. After lo side lagan all been given all shots na this lagain so. Tupla party brook namel na stop or so.
But quick response by over 100 police personnel broke up the two groups. NCD Metropolitan Superintendent Ben Turi rushed to the scene and spoke with leaders of both groups. Witnesses were identified and taken to Boroko Police Station where their statements were collected. Meanwhile, a proper incident report will be released by the METSUP once all reports are compiled. The matter is being investigated by criminal investigators from the Homicide Unit. Thekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
Meanwhile, Pangaea businessman Eke Lama is calling for peace among factions involved in the killing of a youth last night at Tete Settlement. Mr. Lama said there should be no more any retaliation, but those involved must be apprehended to face justice. A concerned Mr. Lama said community leaders must be responsible for peace talks in the next 24 hours. The victim is from South Pangaea in the Southern Highlands province. Another male has also received knife wounds and is being admitted to the hospital for treatment.
Me appeal all get a leader or tubla site. something come up and me come up finish, so me plan must sit down and talk na. Larem, this was something. PC must go back. Long community na by me black and talk. But me too, me appeal all this blah. We should like involved from this killing blood two man. Leader or side, he must kiss him. This man, I give him a call on police.
The declaration of William Powie as governor for Southern Highlands Province has raised many questions from candidates that contested the seat in the national elections. In a joint press conference this morning, candidates Joseph Cobo, Bennett Peter and Alfred Muniz said Powie's declaration is unacceptable as they claimed Powie did not reach 50% of the absolute majority mark. They also demanded for the Electoral Commissioner to come clear on the Organic Law and Election Section 175 on declaring Powie under special circumstances.
William Powie was declared as the Southern Highlands governor after he reached 91,745 votes in the primary counts. The absolute majority was set at 86,761.
One candidate has to come up with the absolute majority of 50% plus 1. So according to our calculation for the 460,000 people of Southern Highlands, 218,000 would be our 50% plus 1. So the winner, or the so-called winner, was declared on 22%. So 22% is not 50% plus 1 according to the LPPV system.
The three candidates shared similar concerns, saying Powie's declaration was a premature decision made by the Electoral Commissioner. They claimed the Electoral Commission failed to consult its lawyers to satisfy legal opinions regarding the electoral process, where a declaration can be made under special circumstances.
The law has court has a little bit of power before the declaration. After the declaration, the court has the power. And therefore, ask the Parliament to amend that law, and there must be a law seen that the mass of venues should be checked and balanced properly before the declaration. The court has to have some more powers.
This was a bad case, a bad precedent set, and we appeal to members of Parliament to rectify whatever loopholes that may be in the organic law on provincial and local level government elections.
Special circumstances is based upon humanitarian grounds, but the way we see it here, we need to define that, but that is something to do with the law.
Meanwhile, the governor-elect says his declaration was based upon legal advice and much consultation with the Electoral Commission. He says despite over 80 boxes not counted, the people of Southern Highlands have made known their intentions by giving him the votes that declared him the governor. Stanley Over Jr., National MTV News.
Runner-up to the Southern Highlands regional seat, Joseph Cobo, has condemned the killings of police officers along the highway between Southern Highlands and Hela Province. Cobo described the killings as inhuman and has called on the police hierarchy for immediate investigation. He also brushed aside reports that losing candidates were responsible for all the chaos and killings in Southern Highlands.
For the incident that happened in Mendi and between Mendi and Hagen, I also feel call on the people of Hela and Southern Highlands, the Nipa and the Mendi people to allow the traffic flow as normal. And this is an accidental event that is not been planned, but it's just probably a hiccup and a provocation of each other along the highway. So that is not a meaningful killing or setup of anything. It is just an accidentally along the highway, and the boys of Hela, the policemen of there, got nothing to do with them. They may be running on their own business. Whatever they have come up with has to be investigated by authorities to establish the facts before pointing at each other, candidates or supporters or whichever.
I condemned the loss of lives and killing. We appeal to the people of Southern Highlands to allow normalcy to come back. And I also pass my condolence on behalf of myself and my candidates, my other candidates and our supporters to the families of those policemen and others who lost their lives.
Therefore, we encourage the people not to take the law into their own hands refrain from doing it, like our chief said. Whoever is involved in carrying out illegal activities, they themselves are responsible for that, so the police can deal with them accordingly.
At least 18 election petitions were listed for hearing at the National Court in Port Moresby today. Most of these cases were filed by losing candidates in the 2017 National General Election. They include petitions filed against former Anganofi MP Robert Atiafa, Itapelumi MP Patrick Pruich, and Madang MP Brian Kramer. These cases are based on allegations of discrepancies during the polling and counting periods. They were mentioned for directions hearings before Justice Colin McKyle at the Court of Disputed Returns. So far, there are 77 election petitions filed at the Court of Disputed Returns. The head of health in Highlands says the province needs a new health system and management. Dr. James Kintuo says the current system does not meet standards, with most services run by church organizations. Dr. Kintuo aired his concerns during a visit by the 3 political leaders of the province.
In a brief presentation to the 3 leaders, Dr. Kintuo said Hela urgently needs to improve the current level of health services across the districts, with Tari Hospital to begin with. Dr. Kintuo said the current provincial health authority is not backed by proper facilities, including a sound management system.
We need to build a new provincial hospital for Ella province. A level 6 that meets the standards, that can meet the demand of the population that's increasing at 2.7% currently at this moment.
Hela has a growth rate of 2.7%, with 70% of services delivered by church-led organizations.
I'm not saying it is not functioning the way it should be, but so far so good. It's always good to see a lot of young doctors also here with us.
Governor Philip Undialu says for a start, a health plan or framework must be drafted. He says this must be completed by 2017.
The Hela provincial government is really keen to invest in this, and we will immediately give you someone to work with if you don't have at this point in time to start on the master plan for this provincial hospital. So I have my assurance that we're going to start working on it this year.
The meet has prompted stakeholders to create a reliable and capable health system to serve Ella's growing population. To achieve this, health services need to be raised to level 3 in rural communities and level 5 at Tari Hospital.
You need to tell us where I need to come, as a politician, where do I need to put my resources? Koropa, Kopiago, wherever I need to put my resources, you need to tell us, you need to guide us, and then what we see in our plan.
Hela Province established its Provincial Health Authority Board in 2015. Jack Lapave Jr., National EMTV News.
National EMTV News continues with more local stories when we come back. Stay with us. Welcome back. A tipper truck carrying sand overturned in Port Moresby, causing a traffic jam which lasted for at least 2 hours. The incident occurred between 11 and 12 today, just opposite the Sir Hubert Murray Stadium at Cobo. There were no reports of serious injuries sustained by the driver. However, it is understood the driver was taken to the hospital by St. John Ambulance. The truck was heading to downtown Port Moresby when it capsized. A new corporate plan for the National Broadcasting Corporation will see enhanced improvement to the broadcasting operations. Today, the media organization launched its Corporate Plan 2017 to 2020, which complements the Communications Minister's first 100-day plan. This plan comes when the media landscape is continuing evolving with strong competition in the media industry. The NBC corporate plan will run for 5 years. That is broken up into yearly tasks for divisions and the corporation as a whole. NBC Managing Director Corono said some of the key areas of the corporate plan is to improve funding base, set new editorials and organizational standards, and renew NBC assets.
So it was developed with the guidance of the board, but by divisions. So I encourage the divisions to take ownership of this corporate plan, and particularly where divisional requirements are. the goals that you have set for divisions that will eventually become part of the overall MBC agenda. So together we can help achieve this, all the plans and intentions as laid out in the 4-year plan.
NBC started out as a radio broadcasting station that has ventured into television broadcasting and recently online content, covering 22 provinces. Communication Minister Francis Maneke said the launching is timely, as under his 100-day plan, he has also tasked for a review of the Broadcasting Act 1973 that will be brought to Cabinet.
I want to see NBC enter into much fruitful partnerships. There are genuine intentions and attempts through the plan to improve work environment and tools for the staff. These are plans to realign the current structure without exceeding the salary budget already given. There are plans and measures proposed to save and streamline operational overheads and also attempting to retire bad debts from the past. But these aspirations and plans can only be realized if they are systematically and adequately addressed through the corporate plan.
This is not the first corporate plan for the government broadcaster. A previous corporate plan was the 2011 to 2015. Health officers from 7 clinics in Leh District went on strike today over an administrative issue with the Moresby provincial government. Moresby Nurses Association President Ian Payau said nurses in the province were not paid their industrial allowances for 2016 and 2018. Moresby's Deputy Provincial Administrator Robin Bazinuk told the health officers this morning that the management would consult on the matter and provide a solution. All 7 clinics in Leh are now closed indefinitely until the issue is sorted out.
Moresby Nurses Association President Ian Payau says the nurses were not paid their industrial award for 2016 and 2018, apart from the other provinces who had received theirs. He said the concern was raised to the Moresby Provincial Administration on November last year, but they didn't receive a clarification from the management until today. All 7 urban clinics in the district are now closed indefinitely until the Moresby Provincial Administration addresses the nurses' concern.
I see this issue is simple and administrative issue, which from the union perspective we have agreed, and the award has been given to honor to our nurses. It's a simple implementation failure that the provincial administrations are not implementing the award to our nurses.
There are only 35 health officers working at the 7 urban clinics in the district, which attend to more than 200,000 people of Leh District. They work overtime and are the first to attend to sick people before the patients are being referred to hospitals for further treatment. This nurse was put off from her allowance by the provincial government this year. She said she performs the same duty as nurses from the hospitals and requires an explanation from the administration on why she was not paid her allowances.
Automatically, I should get my special BMA too. I'm doing the same job that they're doing.
Moresby's Deputy Provincial Administrator, Robin Bazinuk, who was on location to address the concern, told the nurses this morning that the administration would provide a solution to their concern today.
Sure. Mibla go brief meeting na mibla kam bonen kan outcome mibla kam na address him also only ke gim belisi longona how can go lo 7 clinics play me.
Julie Badwi Owa, National MTV News, Leh.
To Madang, the National Health Department's Health Program Manager on STI and HIV says Madang Province is seeing an increase in HIV cases. Dr. Nick Dallas says this is because Madang is an ideal tourist destination, and it is also one where bitternut sellers from the Highlands come to buy the commodity. Dr. Dallas also says Madang is amongst the top 10 provinces in PNG with the highest number of HIV and AIDS cases.
The national HIV prevalence at the national level stands at close to 0.9%. But looking at the provincial level, provinces like Enga, Jiwaka and most of the Highlands provinces are over 1%.
Madang, which is usually a quiet province in terms of HIV is slowly seeing an increase. It's coming up now. Right now it stands at 0.7%, going towards 1%. In the language of disease control, public health and statistics, at the epidemic level of any disease, when it reaches 1% and over, it means it's a generalized epidemic, which means it has the potential to exponentially rise. So when a province hits 1% in terms of its statistics, it's very dangerous, and it's something of a public health concern.
Program Manager on STI and HIV at the National Department of Health, Dr. Nick Dallas, says there are at least 25,000 people in the country who are on treatment, and close to 46,000 people in the country are living with HIV. For Madang, it is now ranked among the top 10 provinces.
Overall, you can see that 25,000 people out of 46,000 is already close to 65 or 63% of people living with HIV in the country are diagnosed already and on treatment. So, you can see that that is based on estimations and projections. We could be wrong. We could be underdiagnosing or we could be overdiagnosing. But we believe that the information gathered throughout the provinces that fits into the national system to give the national figures is getting better and better every year because of the quality of data that is coming with. We've improved the quality of data.
Dr. Dallas says even if there was more investment in the public health program, it will take time to see the results. He says the provincial government should take a holistic approach in addressing this epidemic.
We should go back to the days where we have awareness targeting the population that will be most at risk, the youths, the young girls, the school-age kids, the sexually active population. And so if we do that from now and then 4 or 5 years' time, if you recall back, then you will see the epidemic stabilizing. But if we do nothing and business as usual approach now, it's going like that. So it will come up and overtake some provinces in future. Because Madang itself is a township that is rapidly developing, and a lot of people coming in. With people coming in, money and also other things coming in. So.
Martha Louise, National EMTV News, Madang.
30 security guards from the landowner's security company, Raiba Security Services Limited, of the Krumbukari area in Madang have successfully ended a week-long training on basic security. It creates employment and brings development to some 70,000 landowners. Provincial Training Officer and the Chief Trainer, Chief Sergeant Kamal Maba, says the training is not only on professional guard procedures but also on health and HIV awareness. Participants were presented certificates at the conclusion of the training. The University of Natural Resources and Environment in East New Britain Province aims to become one of the main suppliers of beef in the New Guinea Islands region. Pro-Vice-Chancellor Administration Dr. Isaac Puer said the university hopes to farm cattle and meet demands. About 46 hectares of land has been dedicated as a cattle ranch. Edwin Fidelis reports from Cobo.
Cattle farming in East New Britain Province is not as popular as cocoa and coconut farming, but the business that the University of Natural Resources and Environment hopes to tap into has a potential market. Pro-Vice-Chancellor Administration of the University, Dr. Isaac Puer, says apart from farming cattle for research and studies, they also want to sell.
We have a similar arrangement at Budal also for similar kind of arrangement where we have cattle.
This is a portion of about 46 hectares of land at Laup on the outskirts of the Warangoi township that the university will be using as a cattle ranch. A total of 150 cattle have been moved here, with more expected to be transported later. The ranch may not be a big one for a start for the university, but Dr. Puer says they are negotiating with the East New Britain provincial government to acquire more land to produce more cattle to meet the demands that is expected to increase once they go into full operation.
We are currently reviewing MOA with the East New Britain provincial government, and after that we will then agree on expanding the farm.
The UNRE cattle ranch may not be as big as the ranches in Ramu in Madang and Rumion in Ley, but the university believes they have the potential to produce, and with scientific skills and knowledge, it has put them at a point of advantage to produce more to sell to the entire New Guinea Islands region and the rest of the country. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News, Cobo.
The University of Technology in Ley may be forced to close early if monthly grants from the government are not received on time. Funds from the government have been inconsistent, and the school's management is now calling on the government to address this so that the academic year can be completed without disruptions.
The proper completion of Unitec's academic year is now solely dependent on government funding. Government funding to the school this year has been inconsistent, according to Acting Vice-Chancellor Dr. Ora Renagi.
And that is creating a backlog of debts that we have with our service providers and putting us in a very critical situation right now.
The government allocated 47.3 million kina to Unitec this year. So far, only 26.2 million kina has been received, with an outstanding of a little over 21 million kina. The university management said drastic changes to the academic year would have to be made if funds for the remaining months are not received on time.
And if the government can pay us our dues, then we can successfully complete the semester.
Because of this issue, payments to service providers for the past several months have been delayed and continue to accumulate.
If the grants are paid on time, then we are well capable of managing those funds so that the service providers are paid on time.
For the university, funding delays has been the norm. They are now appealing to the government to address this to ensure the academic year is completed without disruptions.
We would like to request the government of the day to fully honor the budget appropriation of 2017.
Lucy Kopana, National EMTV News, Ley.
And now looking at our finance news, the kina closed unchanged at $0.3125 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.3050 $0.3847 Australian dollars, $0.2544 euro, and 33.99 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, cocoa closed higher, while gold, coffee, and copper closed the day lower. Palm oil, crude oil, and copper closed the day lower. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 23.89 points higher, the ASX closed at 47.69 points higher, and the All Ordinaries closed at 46.44 points higher. Among stories when we come back, a marriage commitment. Stay with us. Welcome back. Samarai Island was once a government nerve center and a former administrative capital of Milne Bay Province at the southern eastern tip of Papua New Guinea. The power supply provided by PNG Power Limited has been consistent to the island. Although Easy Pay is yet to be installed, they are using fuel to power the island. Residents thank PNG Power for the service, which at least brings development closer to their doorsteps. Electricity has become useful, especially when there is a district hospital on the island. Bishop of the Kwato Church in Papua New Guinea, Dagonia Walino, has called for commitment on marriages. While officiating on a recent wedding ceremony in Milne Bay Province, Bishop Dagonia says a man and woman must journey with God because he alone will nourish this lifetime commitment. He says couples must remain faithful to each other and uphold their matrimonial vows.
Marriage is a committed relationship between a man and women. It's a lifetime commitment and the cornerstone of family life. Bishop Dagonet told the witnesses of the blessing of matrimonial vows at Doini Island that this commitment is sealed where a man and women will walk as husband and wife. It was the exchange of holy matrimonial vows between George Badapipi Jr. from Logie Island, Moresby Province, and Rose Ampaoi from Kieta in the autonomous region of Bougainville. They tied the knot in the presence of families and friends. Some even came all the way from Australia to witness the exchange of vows. They are now Mr. and Mrs. Badapipi. Bishop Dagonier said marriage is a sign of God's love and a lifetime journey, and in order for them to walk the path, couples must open new levels of communication and understand themselves and each other, because there are everyday challenges and tools are available to strengthen marriages. It's all about love, the love of God manifested in the fidelity of marriage. Bishop Dagonier reminded couples that marriage must be harnessed, where man and women become one and must understand the nature of the commitment. Fabian Haklitz, National EMTV News.
Traveling to the outer islands of Milne Bay Province remains a challenge as people depend on the sea for traveling and survival. The only mode of sea transport available is passenger ships and dinghies. In recent times, locals and accommodation providers have purchased outboard motors or banana boats to travel to and from the main town of Alatau. They said that although it's a struggle, this way of life is now a norm. They have called on the local MPs to invest more in infrastructures that will make the travel accessible and more convenient. Turning overseas, the situation in Puerto Rico remains desperate 10 days after the island was ravaged by Hurricane Maria. U.S. President Donald Trump was to travel to the American territory this week, but his visit will be met with political tension as he continues to angrily defend the mainland's response to the disaster.
Tonight, as supplies and other necessities trickle into San Juan, people living just some 25 miles away wondering if they've been forgotten.
Nobody's come to help.
The Reyes family in an isolated part of Comerio say they have been fending for themselves. 11 days now, no power, no cell service, no easily available drinking water. The hurricane ripping the roofs right off in this sprawling valley community. The river water, now their means of bathing and cleaning up what's left of their homes.
What's the hardest part?
The babies.
There's no water to drink. Very little.
But in another small town, Juncos, aid from FEMA finally arriving.
It's not enough. It's not fast enough. They know that. We know that.
In San Juan, where lines at gas stations go on for blocks, fuel trucks now being escorted by armed officers.
We have no food. We have no water. Buildings are becoming human prisons, human cages.
More help already on the way. Cargo ships filled with supplies. The massive Navy hospital ship Comfort arriving this week. 6,400 troops already on the ground. With communications crippled, Lieutenant General Jeffrey Buchanan, now in charge of military operations here, says the challenge is finding where the needs are so they can be met.
We are not satisfied with what we've been able to do so far. These people deserve more help, and we're going to bring it.
Chukai Sports is next. Details after these short messages.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome to Chukai Sports. The Osage Trophy Tour concluded 4 fruitful days in the New Guinea Islands. The tour started in Kokopo and ended in the surrounding islands of Kavieng Town. The Rugby League World Cup next tour will cover the Central Province. We wrap up the New Guinea Islands with highlights from Rabaul, Lihir and the pristine islands of New Ireland.
The Paul Beret Trophy arrived at Tokwe Airport, escorted by Oil Search Executive General Manager for Stakeholder Engagement, Geria Aupi, General Manager Stakeholder Engagement Leon Baskins, and Victoria's PNG Hunters coach Michael Marum.
We are very happy to take this cup around the country and for people to see it, feel it, take photos with it. And so when they see the cup being awarded to hopefully the Comals, but if all goes well, the cup might come back here.
Warlapang ceremony of the Tumbuans was held in front of the trophy. Tumbuans danced to welcome the trophy into the area. Oil Search General Manager Stakeholder Engagement Leon Baskins thanked the people of Bunakanao.
World Rugby League World Cup game, 22 countries are playing. First time lo history playing and you walk on plakan kalsa mi walk so mi like thank you to lo pla pati man lo mi walk kata.
Sons of this land, let us sing of our joy to be free, praising God and rejoicing to be Papua New Guinea.
Newcrest was happy to partner with Oil Search to bring the trophy to the people of Lihir Island.
It was a dawn start for the Oil Search Rugby League World Cup team. After arriving at the Kavieng airport from its visit to Lihir Island, the trophy was traditionally welcomed by an elder from Kavieng.
Ha! Ha! Look at something! Look at something! Look at it! Ha!
The Rugby League World Cup trophy was taken first to Larai Bina village, the home of the famous Eels, with escorts from provincial government, Newcrest and the Kavieng Rugby League representatives. Ngavalis village, one of the big village along the Bluminski Highway, locals decorated the highway with flowers to welcome the Rugby League World Cup.
We thank National Fisheries Authority. They have a fantastic world-class research facility on the island. And so far the World Rugby League Cup Tour has been a fantastic journey, bringing it outside of Moresby and bringing it to our people.
And this cup has brought about a type of encouragement to the community, and it's about bringing the involvement of the community to see it, because that's not only about this activity, but I think in terms of bringing discipline to actually the livelihood of the people so that they feel part of it.
The final stop of the New Guinea Islands Oil Search Trophy Tour was at Nusa Island.
More glory for Papua New Guinea as triathlete Rachel Seperi-James won gold at the Pacific Islands Triathlon Championships. Seperi-James, together with junior champion Mesak Arawa, joined EMTV Sports Scene and was excited at the potential growth of the sport in PNG. The former Miss PNG winner took out top honors in the women's division in the competition and says that the sport is perfect for Papua New Guineans. Chukai Sports continues when we come back. Stay with us.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome to Chukai Sports. Turning overseas, Prince Harry has brought the Invictus Games in Toronto to a close, even trying an Australian accent as he looked to next year's event in Sydney. As he celebrated, he was spotted giving his girlfriend a kiss.
After a week in which competitors have beaten the odds and their families have watched on with pride, this year's Invictus Games has now closed.
From Team UK, Mark Ormrod.
The closing ceremony attracted a huge crowd who watched as Britain's Mark Ormrod was given the Exceptional Achievement Award. The former Royal Marine lost 3 limbs in Afghanistan, yet here he won medals in swimming and rowing. And while the focus was rightly on the competitors, there was interest too in Prince Harry and his girlfriend Meghan Markle, the American TV actress who works in Toronto. The couple watched the event from a private box up high and in the dark. This will of course do nothing to dampen the speculation of a royal wedding sometime soon.
The Invictus Games are not just for the already determined. These games are for those who need it most. Please help us find them.
Toronto watched the Prince pull off an inspiring games for the military and veterans.
It's going to be game on down under. I'll see you in Australia.
Which was undoubtedly more successful than his attempt at an Australian accent.
Trukai Sports ends there. The weather details when we come back.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield, with doing with Dulux.
And now looking at the weather forecast for tonight, in the southern region, mostly fine and partly cloudy for Port Moresby, Daru and Alatau, partly cloudy with a shower or two for Kerma, and Popondetta becoming cloudy with a shower or two. In Mamase, cloudy with some showers for Ley, cloudy with some rain showers for Madang, Wewak becoming cloudy with some rain showers, and Vanimo mostly fine then becoming cloudy with a shower or two. In the New Guinea Islands, Lorengau and Buka cloudy with some thundery rain showers, Keveng and Kimbe cloudy with some rain showers, and Kokopo and Rabaul cloudy with few showers developing. And in the Highlands, all centers becoming cloudy with few showers developing.
The details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield, with doing with Dulux.
And that's the news, sports and weather this Monday, the 2nd of October 2017. From all of us here, I'm Merlin Diakotam. Pleasant viewing and good night.